Mandukya Upanishad. Mandukya Upanishad is part of the Atharvaved. It is the smallest of all the Upanishads, and it is also the most difficult because in the short span of just 12 verses it covers the entire range of human consciousness, beginning with the waking state and ending in the supreme state of superconsciousness, where all objective perceptions and relations end, where all duality ends. Adi Shankar was of the opinion that if one were to study only one Upanishad, then it should be this one, because it is short and compact and it captures all the essentials of mystical insight. The Upanishad is an explanation of the principle of Om as consisting of three elements A, U, and M, which refer to the three states of waking, dreaming sleep, and dreamless sleep. Brahm, the one absolute, the supreme self, the Param Atma, is manifested in the universe in its material, in its subtle, and in its causal aspects. The one reality, the one Brahm, becomes the infinite variety of changing and shifting things that we see and experience around us in the world in the various states of our consciousness. The Upanishad describes four states of consciousness. The first is the waking state. The second is the dreaming state of sleep. The third is the state of dreamless, sound, and deep sleep. And the fourth is the state of transcendental consciousness, the superconscious state, where we rise above the other three states of our normal consciousness and merge with Brahm, the Supreme Absolute. All these states are but different aspects of Godhood, the last state alone being all inclusive and ultimately real. The Absolute of mystic consciousness, the one Brahm, is the God of all religions. It is believed that the whole wisdom and the knowledge of all the Upanishads is packed in a nutshell in the 12 verses of this Upanishad. It is also believed that this Upanishad by itself is enough to lead one to liberation and salvation. The Upanishad. The word Om is the imperishable. It is all this. It is the entire universe. An explanation of the same follows. Om is all that existed in the past, all that exists in the present, and all that shall exist in the future as well. Om is also that which transcends the threefold division of time, the past, the present, and the future. It is even before the past, and it is after the future as well. This whole universe, this whole world is the eternal Brahm. There is nothing in creation that is not Brahm. Brahm is all, and everything is Brahm. The Self, the Atma, is also Brahm. This same Self, this same Atma, has four quarters, has four states of consciousness. The first quarter of the Self is called Vaishvanar. Vaishvanar is the normal waking state of man, the experience of the reality common to everyone. This is the material condition. Here, in this state, man lives his life with all his senses, his entire consciousness, and his perception turned outward. Here, he is aware only of the outward, external world as he sees it, and he enjoys the material, the physical objects of the external world in all their diverse variety. The second quarter of the self is called Tejas. Tejas is the dream state of sleep, the experience of the subjective world of his own dreams. This is the mental condition. Here a person lives in a world of his own creation, in his own dreams. In this state, all his senses, his entire consciousness, and his perception are turned inwards within himself, and he enjoys only subtle objects, which are the creation of his own mind in the world of his own dreams. The third quarter of the self is called Pragya. Pragya is the state of dreamless, deep, and sound sleep. This is the intellectual condition. Here, the mind rests and awareness is suspended. Pragya is the gateway to the other two states of Vaishvanar and Tejas. In this state, one does not see any dreams, nor does one have any desires. There is no mind in Pragya, and there is no separateness from the Supreme Brahm. One unites with Brahm in this state. In Pragya, one becomes a uniform mass of consciousness. One becomes full of bliss, and one experiences and enjoys only bliss. But the one who is in such deep sleep is not aware of this. If he were to become aware of the fact that he has become one with Brahm in the state of Pragya, then the door to the state of everlasting and abiding joy and peace would open for him. The fourth and the final quarter of the self is called Turia, the superconscious state. In this state, there is nothing except the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Brahm. Turiya is neither inward looking nor is it outward looking. It is neither conscious of the outer world nor is it conscious of the inner world nor is it conscious of both together. It is also not a suspension of consciousness or awareness. It neither knows internal objects nor does it know external objects. It is not a mass of consciousness. It is neither knowing nor is it not knowing, nor is it knowingness itself. It cannot be seen and it cannot be understood. It cannot be named, described, or defined. It cannot be caught or grasped. It is beyond the senses, the mind, the intellect, and it is beyond boundaries too. It is without any distinctive, distinguishing mark. It is the end of all activity, of all phenomena, and of all relations. It is all powerful and all knowing. It is the Lord of all manifest existence and is present in the hearts of all beings as their inner controller and as their ruler. It is the source of everything. It is the beginning as well as the end of everything. This is the state from which all things originate and into which they all dissolve as well. Turiya is the state of oneness, of union and merging with the Supreme Brahm. That into which the world is resolved. That in which the world rests. Brahm is non-dual, infinite peace and love, always kind, gracious and benign. It is the supreme goal of life. It is this Brahm above all that we must all realize. This is the Supreme Self, the Param Atma. This Supreme Self is Om. Om, though indivisible, has three sounds, three elements represented by each of its letters, the letter A, the letter U, and the letter M. The first letter A of Om is the first element. It stands for the state of Vaishvanar, the experience of the outer world. This is where action and achievement are initiated. Those who know and understand this, they act in freedom. They fulfill all their desires. They achieve success and they attain eminence in the world of men. The second letter U of Om stands for the state of Tejas, the dreaming state of sleep, the experience of the inner world. This is where exalting and unification are initiated. Those who know and understand this, they uphold and exalt the tradition of spiritual knowledge and wisdom. They unify the diversities of life and look upon everything with an impartial eye. They become the equal of all. In the family of such people, everyone leads a spiritual life. Everyone is a knower of Brahm. No one ignorant of Brahm is born in their family. The third letter M of Om represents the state of Pragya, the dreamless state of sound and deep sleep, where the mind rests and where awareness is suspended. This is the state where measurement and merging are initiated. Those who know and understand this, they measure and know everything. They merge with the world and they comprehend everything. The word Om as one sound represents the ultimate state of Turia and stands for the Supreme Brahm, the Supreme Self, indivisible, without parts, without elements, non-dual and benign. That into which the whole world is resolved, that into which the entire creation dissolves. It is one without a second. Thus, the syllable Om is the Supreme Self. Those who know Om as one sound, they know Om as the Supreme Self. They enter and merge their self with the Supreme Self and they become the Supreme Self. Truly, they become the Supreme Self. Truly, they become the Supreme Self. End of Mandukya Upanishad. Om Shanti 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 Om.